Hello everybody and welcome to LMM and another episode of Lawrie Goes Loco. So many of you guys enjoyed seeing me on the austerity over in Belgium that they invited me back again. But this time to do something a little bit different. I've come back to Mardigam to do something a little bit different, which involves this train right here. And those of you who know railways might recognise this crest as part of the Orient Express. Yes, that's right. I've been asked if I'd like to take the Orient Express for a ride. So obviously I said yes, and then thought afterwards, do they really know who I am? Because surely if they did, they would know this is a terrible idea. So this is a little bit more than your standard kind of review or something, because not only am I driving this amazing service on a private diner train, it's going to be at night. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about the challenges of driving a steam locomotive in the dark. So currently we're in the carriage shed at the railway, where they keep these absolutely pristine coaches out of all the nasty weather, and you might be able to hear that it's absolutely chucking it down and see that I am slightly damp on the walk here. So the first thing that's going to happen is the train's going to be dragged out and they're going to put a steam engine on it and we're going to go for a little adventure. But first we're going to go and show you just how nice things are on board this coach. Now this is the carriage that I am pulling tonight, and I am absolutely terrified. I've washed my hands and I'm not even wearing my shoes because they've told me I'm not allowed to sit in any of this or touch any of this. This is an actual carriage from the Orient Express. It was in the Orient Express used between Paris and Stuttgart between 1949 and 1950. It actually did it. It is a proper, authentic Orient Express coach. And look at the service they put on tonight. I've never been anywhere that has this many forks. It is absolutely glorious. This coach originally was built in Paris in 1919 and was a wooden body coach. But during the war in 1943, they rebuilt it. They made it steel body, but all of the windows and everything still line up to the exact same size as they did originally, which is an amazing piece of work. Now, that's the kind of place that I'm not normally allowed on. And I am absolutely terrified by the fact it's 5-star dining on this tonight. And we've got to drive this train, oh so very carefully, through the dark. It's not even during the daytime, through the dark, for all these, well, very lucky people who are going to be on it. But that coach there, that is truly a work of art. It's going to be the most valuable and high profile thing I've ever been allowed to touch on a railway that I don't know. Great. So what motive power has been assigned to me to drive this prestigious train? What piece of Belgian history will be rostered for me to wrestle with in the darkness? Will it be something that could have pulled the Orient Express back in the golden age? Well, no. But it is an engine that I love. And it's one that you've all seen before. Tonight, we're back with WD-196, which, I'll be honest, I'm really excited by. It may not be a particularly authentic locomotive to work the Orient Express, but I'm rather tickled by the fact that a British-built locomotive is going to work the train. Now, I've done all the prepping of this before, so we don't need to go through that again, though as darkness falls, there is one outstanding task still to do. So it's now time for the pièce de résistance, to light this absolutely gorgeous lamp on the front of the loco. To come around here, open this little clip, and that opens like that. And now open the wick a little bit, lift that, and that slowly goes around and lights with that. With that, the most important of my tasks completed, I headed to the cab to turn on the electric lights. And then all that remained to do was to wait for darkness to fall. And of course, the arrival of our very distinguished and lucky guests. The anticipation of taking the Orient Express out is terrifying. Standing on the footplate in the dark awaiting the right of way felt like an eternity, and I was starting to feel more and more nervous about the enormity of the task ahead. But then, there it was, the whistle from the guard and the right of way ahead. There we go. And away we go. Being oh so very, very careful not to spill the soup, not to upset the chef, and not to upset any of these people who have got on this quite prestigious train. Tops and knock it back one. It's very important with this train to keep travelling nice and slow. Everyone on board is for a dining experience, not a high-speed run to the end of the line, which is where this speedo comes in very handy. And I really am feeling the pressure of doing this nice and gently. I know I'm capable of it, but this is the most high-profile train I have ever had the absolute honour to drive. And I really do feel that it's quite an honour. Let's notch this back again. Now, the most apparent thing of driving a steam locomotive in the dark at night time is the fact that there is very little light. And you might think that those nice headlights on the front illuminate everything. They do nothing. They're purely there just so people know that we're coming, and mostly it's for the signalman to be able to go, ah, that is a train. And over in the UK, the position of your lights, that will tell them what kind of train you are. And then having a red light on the back tells them the train is finished and it's gone through. Out here, I don't think it means anything. There is something truly, truly magical about driving a steam engine in the dark. A steam engine is more than just a machine. It's a living, breathing beast of which you have to form a partnership with, you have to work with it, and it's never more apparent than doing it in the dark. Together we are now forging a way through the darkness. It's so perfect it could almost be poetic. If I could rhyme, if I could do poetry, this would be the perfect muse to write a book full of amazing things. And listen to that, she's got such a beautiful exhaust. And in the dark, everything's a little more pronounced. You hear the noises a bit more, you're listening a little bit more for all these things. And because you can't see, you appreciate it all more. You appreciate the heat more, you appreciate the sound more. With this engine having so much light in there, I can see everything, which really does help. But on other engines, without the fancy lighting and my cameraman's light, it gives you a sense of just how hard this would be, relying on the light of the fire flickering to show you the controls, to be able to read the gauges and see what's going on. It would be something else. These people who managed to drive regularly in the night on the main line, they were masters of their craft. They knew their engines inside out and backwards. And that was really something else. And that's one thing that we don't really get to do as volunteers working on the preserve railways. We don't really get the opportunity to drive regularly in the night. So this is a real honour. And it's at times like these, when you're driving at dark, in the night, that route knowledge is so important. And to actually know where you are at the line at any time, what's coming up, because you can't rely on sight, you've got to rely on knowing where you are and what you're doing. And that poses some problem, because I don't really know where I am. So luckily I've got the pilot behind me who's telling me everything I need to know about the railway and what I'm doing. It's coming up now, and again, bringing the train to a controlled stop for a red. It's all about doing it nice and gently. We do not want to spill that soup. Equally, we do not want to go through the red signal, because that would be bad. And that would rather put a rather downer on this evening's entertainment. This though is absolutely magnificent. It's a wonderful engine, this. So easy to drive, and it handles so nicely. How far are we from the signal?
Meter or...
A meter?
No, 5?
5 meters? That's fine. That's fine. I'm happy.
Enough. Good. Yeah, good.
That was nice and gentle.
Yeah. Okay, yellow.
Now we plunge back into the darkness, away from the town, away for all the lights that gave us some idea of where we were and what we were doing. And it is just dark. The headlights pick out about a meter's worth of track in front of me. The rest of it is just silhouette against slightly dark, slightly lighter sky. So I can see there's trees ahead of me somewhere. And that's about it. And this is where the sensation kind of kicks in, this magic, when it really is totally blind. And you're just trundling through the countryside on this magical beast, this fire-breathing dragon of sorts. And it's just so much more special in the dark. And you might be able to tell from the grin that I am thoroughly, thoroughly enjoying myself. In fact, I imagine I'm enjoying myself a million times more being able to drive this in the dark than the people on the train eating the fancy food. This is absolutely superb. I never thought I would get the opportunity to be able to drive the Orient Express. And this is just beyond my wildest ever dreams. And the fact that it's on a steam engine is just even better. I mean, driving a British-built steam engine on the Orient Express is something that would never have actually even occurred in my dreams. So let's we'll keep away from that, but this is just absolutely amazing. This engine rides so well as well. You can imagine being on something that really bucked and kicked and threw you about. Would be absolutely awful as you're trying to keep your balance as the thing tries to buck you off like a pony or a bucking bronto. But this thing is just gorgeous. She rides so nicely and just helps to make this such a spectacular experience. Now I can see a signal ahead of me, and that's my sole concentration is on that. It's the one bit of light ahead, the only indication of where we're going or what's up ahead. So normally as you're going, you see the signal, you see everything else around you that you concentrate on and you work out what you're doing. This, just that light. I'm going to just shut off now and roll gently, making sure we keep that speed around 15. There is quite literally nothing in this world I would rather be doing right now. And cast whatever assumptions you want on that comment, but it's true. This is quite literally the best thing in the world, ever. And that was my best Clarkson impression. Right, we have an ungated crossing coming up, so it's now slow right down and crawl across it. Again, trying to minimise the poor chef at the back with his soup. We don't want to upset him. It is a really nice engine to drive this. I mean, I'm sure you'll have seen the video before where we had a look at this engine. And I fell in love with it and realised what a gorgeous thing it is to drive. But it really is a gorgeous thing to drive. And I could not think of an engine I'd enjoy doing more in the dark than this. Oh, we're in a wood. This whistle's going to sound amazing. Clear my side. It's a nice whistle. Now, I mentioned earlier that it's so important to work as a team on an engine in the dark. It's always important to work as a team on the footplate, but it's so nice being on with a group of people who you've got absolute trust in. I feel for one of the first times ever like I'm doing it properly. I've gone back in time, and this is back in the day. It doesn't feel like a heritage organisation today. This feels like the real deal, the real thing. And it is magnificent. The sensation there, sticking my head outside the cab, feeling the wind, the cold night air against my face where the rest of my body's warmed by the fire. It's just magical. And I know I've stressed that a lot, but I honestly can't think of a better word to describe this experience to you guys. It is just magical. It's almost kind of got a fairy tale feel to it as we curve round here coming back into the town. I love seeing members of the public as the train goes past. It just makes me feel special. In fact, I feel very special this evening. Possibly the most special I've ever felt. I wish, guys, that I had a significant grip over the English language to be able to just convey how amazing this is. I don't think I own the ability to be able to use the words to explain it to you. It's just that much more alluring at night. It's that much more special. And just like that, we arrived at the far end of the line. I had completed my driving term on the Orient Express. I was anxious to go and speak with the waiters and see if my driving had been to an acceptable standard, but as I climbed on board I saw them all still hard at work serving the after-dinner wine. No sign of any spillages, plenty of empty plates, and happy customers. And then I caught sight of the chef just putting the final touches to the desserts together, which started to make me feel quite hungry. And so, as everybody on board the train gets to eat their luxury 5-star meal, me and Matt are left with this sausage roll, which we put on the train, on the hot plate, quite a few hours ago now. The good news is it is very hot and it's burning my fingers. And my home. This is better than what they have back there. Definitely better. Oh yeah. There you go, Matt. That's yours. So, part of the other challenges of crewing a locomotive in the dark is dealing with a fire. Because obviously it's dark everywhere. As soon as you look into that burning inferno, your night vision is totally ruined. Now this engine again isn't too bad because we've got all this extra light, but imagine trying to do this without that. That's your only source of illumination, and you've got some kind of night vision to feel yourself around, and then suddenly open up totally blind. This, however, oh, this isn't too bad. Not too bad at all. We've now arrived at our terminus for this evening's service, and I think it's quite apparent to say that I have absolutely loved it. This has been one of my most favourite, most enjoyable experiences I have ever had the pleasure to do. And now it's over and we've got here safely and nobody's complaining that the soup's been spilt. I'm feeling very proud of myself and very excited and just generally pretty damn happy. It is magnificent. Highly recommend, guys, if you have a look at it, at doing the Orient Express service, because it looks absolutely magnificent. And if you really enjoyed looking at seeing what it's like on the footplate, the Maldegem Railway offers a footplate experience where you could come along and have a ride and sample a bit of what it's like to be on the footplate. So if you're in the area, highly recommend giving that a go because it's great. And I hope this video has given you some kind of idea of just what it's like to operate a steam engine in the dark. It's not really a hardship, but the challenges and difficulty in operating steam engines after dark and how much more special it is. Because it really is quite the sensation. So guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've enjoyed it a smidgen as much as I've enjoyed it. And please like, subscribe, share this video with your friends and leave a comment. Really would appreciate that. Massive great thanks to the Maldegem to Igloo Steam Railway for inviting us back here again to have a go at driving the Orient Express. The details for them, if you like the railway, are in the video description. There's an email too if you're native and you want to get in contact and talk about maybe joining the society, because they're a lovely group of people. Also the booking details for if you want to be able to book and get on that train, well, the information for it at least is in the video description if you want to ride their Orient Express. If you've enjoyed this video, how about clicking over here for the review we actually did on this locomotive earlier in the year? Or how about click down here for some British standard gauge steam. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later.